right, guys. So, welcome back to the second episode of the Motobookie podcast. We are going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the mutter that took place this weekend. Also, talk a little bit about the Motobookie app, some of the new things that we have coming. We're ready to give away and have given away our first set of challenges. So, we'd like to congratulate the people that were able to win some of the cash we were giving away. So, we're going to jump right in and start in with showing you the top 5 or 10 from the Motobookie app. We'll go ahead and get right into it. So in first place, winning the $500 challenge, we had Lauren Parker with 157 wins. In second place, we had Shredmans, and he came in with 99 wins. And the third place winner is going to be Films from Above with 89 wins. So congratulations to all three of them. First place winner is going to get $500. Second place will get $400, and third place will get $300. We want to once again thank everybody for participating in the Motobookie challenge. We're super stoked. We have reached over now. We have at least 3,000 users on the app, so we're super stoked about that. While we're on that topic, want to give a real big shout out to Buttery Films for helping us out all along the way. He's been super instrumental in helping us promote this thing, and we couldn't appreciate everything he's done for us. Him and Ryder, who's another gentleman who's part of the Buttery crew. The both of them have been super cool and very supportive with the program, and we really appreciate it. So we want to thank them. I want to remind everybody that we will be starting the Motobookie challenge over again. The two races that will be combined is going to be San Diego and Anaheim 2. So whoever has accumulated the most wins, not chips, the most wins at the end of A2, we will be giving out another prize, $500 for first place, $400 for second place, and $300 for third place. So we encourage everybody to get on there and check out the app. Right now, what's going to happen is we are going to reset. All the users will be, we will reset their chip bank, and each person's going to get 2,000 chips this time. It'll give people an opportunity to be able to get some more wagers in there. We saw some different strategies, spoke to a couple of users, and they were basically saying, hey, we're going to take the first weekend and try to double our chips so that in the second weekend, we can just place tons of, $5 and $10 bets to try to win, the overall most wins. So thank you to everybody who's tried it out. Like I've said before in the past, our goal is to just bring something new to the sport. We're trying to get new eyes on the sport, and hopefully with the ability to wager, we can get some different fans involved. Just a couple updates. If you guys haven't seen our previous videos, we want you to go and download the new app. So the app does have some updates. So you'll go to app.motobookie.com. You will re-download the new version to your home screen, and at that point, it should allow you to enable your notifications, which is kind of cool. So you can tell when people are taking bets. You can tell when somebody's messaging you. So please download the new version so that you can get those notifications. Other things that we have coming, I know that some people have reached out and asked about last year, the ability we were allowing cash, wagering, real money wagering, and we're going to continue to do that. We're trying to kind of fine tune things so that the app will have kind of the best of both worlds. So you'll be able to every month enter into the Motobookie challenge, which will be the fantasy portion of the app. And then you will also be able to go on another wager board, which will allow you to wager with real money. So, in a perfect world, we're hoping to have that ready by March. We're working our hardest to reach that deadline. Can't guarantee anything, but that's the plan. We will also, if everything goes as planned, we will be launching F1. So you will not only be able to click the drop-down menu and bet on motocross and or supercross, you'll also have the ability to wager on F1 races as well. So once again, we're working our butts off, trying to work out all the bugs and just get the app exactly where we want it to be for everybody to enjoy it. But for those of you who have jumped on board, we really appreciate it. We'll also be announcing in the next day or two the $1,000 giveaway raffle that Buttery Films offered for new users. So he'll go ahead and be posting and letting you guys know the details of who won that competition. And so once again, we want to thank everybody. We really appreciate the support here, kind of in the beginning stages of developing this product, and we've had a lot of awesome feedback, and for that we're very very thankful. We want to also just make sure that People can use the refer a friend link. So if you, your buddies, anybody who's, loves moto, loves Supercross, wants to get involved, you can simply just send them the link from your profile page and share it with them, and refer a friend. It's kind of cool. So let's talk a little bit about the racing. Get on here. Had a lot of people kind of saying, "Oh, mutters don't count. This isn't a true test." I couldn't disagree with you more. Mud races are part of the sport. Not every race is going to have perfect conditions with the track perfectly, saturated the way everybody likes it. So I disagree with that. I think this gave Chase Sexton a ton of confidence. I think getting an early win on that KTM, him proving that he can, suffer through a race like that, both endurance, keep the bike on two wheels, and bring it to the finish line. I think it's a huge confidence booster for him. I disagree. I think mud races are part of this sport, and I kind of like it. As you saw, something really awesome happened with under the Suzuki banner. The fact that Shane McElrath, as well as Ken Roczen, were able to put the Suzukis up into the top 5 is awesome. I know at one point there was, everybody kind of thought Suzuki was going to pack it up and leave the industry, and that sucks. I think with a sport as small as motocross and supercross, you need every manufacturer, every team, everyone who can support and continue to grow this awesome sport. They need to remain involved. And I think with the fact that they're able to put 2 of those bikes in the top 5, mud race or not, it's awesome for the sport. It's awesome for the brand, for Suzuki. And I think that was one of the coolest things that they came out of the San Francisco round, was seeing Kenny and Shane put those 2 bikes up front. Obviously, Eli, it's going to be hard to tell if he's really back on track after a mud race, but the truth be told, he was able to basically grab some points. Now you're looking at the point spread, and you got Sexton with the red plate, you got Jet 7 points behind, and Eli's only 10 points back. So, this mud race was definitely an equalizer as far as keeping that, the grouping and points of the top guys kind of close. I really like that. I don't know that anybody wanted to see a repeat of the outdoor season where, Jet was, I don't even know how many points up by the end of 2 or 3 rounds left. He probably could have wrapped it up, and, great for him. And I'm not taking away from that. But as a fan, you don't really want to see that. You love to see this points thing. I'd like to see Coop maybe fight his way back in it. I know that, he didn't have the best showing at the mud race, but I think there's a handful of guys right up there that can really get this done. The other notable, I think, from looking at the points is the fact that Dylan Ferrandis is only 12 points out of the championship. I think that is so awesome for a privateer team. To be able to show that these privateer teams have moved themselves into a level where they're almost as competitive or just as competitive as the factory guys is massive for the sport. If we get to a point where the only seats that are available, for these guys are factory rides, it's going to really do some damage to the sport. So, a Club MX team like Garrett Marchbanks and Phil Nicoletti, getting those bikes up front and showing that not only does the team, but the training and everything that these privateer teams have put together to compete with the factory teams and close that gap so that it's kind of like an equalizer. And I mean, Dylan Ferrandis is killing it. I think everybody wrote him off once he left Star. He had a couple bad years in Supercross with the Star team on the 450. And just the fact that he's able to get on this privateer team and do what he's been doing, I think is absolutely awesome. And I'm here for it. I really hope that he gets an opportunity to get out there with a good start, run up front, get the team TV exposure, get the sponsorships TV exposure. And, I couldn't be more stoked to see these privateer teams kind of closing the gap on the factory guys. The other thing I think, the notable from even the 250 squad, it's really cool to see Jordan Smith, at the age he's at, the amount of years that he was hurt, to be able to come back. He's got the red plate. He's going to have the red plate on the front of the Star Racing bike. And at his age, to even pull a Christian Craig and grab a title later on in his career and possibly extend his career out a couple more years is absolutely awesome. I think it's awesome for the sport. I think it's awesome for him. Levi Kitchen, I thought he's only 5 points out of the championship. looked really, really good. Obviously, the change to PC seems to be working just fine for him. Unfortunately, there's a couple of guys, Joe Shimoda. Unfortunately, this is not the coming out party that he would have hoped for on the Honda. It looks like now he's probably out of the championship already. I think he's over 30 points back, which kind of sucks. I mean, that's not the start of the year that he wanted, or for Honda, and as well as Hunter. It just seems like, they didn't get off to the start that they would have hoped for. And interestingly enough, and once again, this is not a diss on Joe Shimoda. I'm a huge sushi fan, but there was a lot of people coming in preseason talking about that, they thought Shimoda was going to be dominant, that the change was going to definitely just put him on a whole nother level, being that, underneath the rig again with the Lawrence brothers. It was going to put him in a position to really dominate the 250 class. And I didn't agree with that. I was concerned that he wasn't able to really do a lot on the pro circuit bike. I know we all hear the Cinderella story about the tryout and him making it through the tryout and getting on the team, but there was no point really on even pro circuit where you saw a dominant Joe Shimoda. So I didn't feel that he was going to just jump into this 250 class and just dominate. Especially, I think he kind of got lucky that Hayden didn't go with the West, because I think he'd have real problems. But I just, I didn't see it, and it's kind of showing here. He had not a great showing at A1. He came back in the main event, but a bad start and kind of just couldn't put it all the way together, but almost got the podium. And then this mud race, I think he got 22nd. I don't know the details of what happened with it. Was it a bike thing or a him thing? But him not really doing much on pro circuit never led me to believe he was going to dominate, on Honda. So, hopefully he can get that turned around. For me so far, the standout rider are a couple of them. I mean, you got Carson Mumford on a privateer bike. He's 5th place in points. You got Garrett Marchbanks on a privateer bike, 4th place in points. I think those are two of the coolest storylines out. I mean, the fact that you're taking two guys that are on non-factory bikes and can get in the top 5 in points, I think it's just amazing for the sport, and it's amazing for their teams. For me, so far, the guy that's looked incredible is the rookie Julian Beaumer. Juju, he's been awesome, man. I watched him at Anaheim 1. Awesome start in his heat race, rode really, really good. Awesome start in his main event, rode really good. Of all the rookie class kind of guys, when you look at the Rider D, and I know he's a rookie in Supercross, but you look at Rider D, you look at him. I think Casey Cochran, I gotta tell you, I think he looks the most seasoned, the most under control. There was no point at Anaheim where you were like, oh my God, this rookie's going to throw it away and this is all going to go bad. He looks solid. And I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I feel he needs a little bit more speed, which I think he'll pick up. But as far as being under control and looking like a rookie who's going to have a long future in this sport, he really looks good. I mean, under control, he looks poised. You don't see him really hanging it out where you think he's going to kill himself. So a big shout out to Julian Beaumer. I think KTM picked up a superstar in the making, and I really hope I think if he can get on some tracks that suit him, you're going to see him run up front, and he can really be a contender for podiums and possible wins once he gets a little more confidence under his belt. But, shout out to him. He looked great at Anaheim, and obviously the mud race, he managed to hold it together and at least, salvage some points on that race. So shout out to him. Someone that, I'm a huge fan of, and it's just unfortunate to see again, is kind of the beginning of the series for Mookie. Obviously it's over. There's no chance at a title run now. He's way too many points behind to even be close to a title. And that's sad. That sucks because you're 2 rounds in, a guy that's got all the speed in the world. And it just seems like the guy just can't catch a break, whether it's a first corner pile up or a front flip in the mud. It just seems like the poor guy just can't catch a break. And I'm really hoping that one of these races, they all get out to a clean start where it's Jet, Kenny, Eli, Chase, Mookie, and Anderson. Barsha, throw him in there. I'd love to just see all 5, 6, 7 of them just get a clean start, get through 2 or 3 laps where they're all within a grouping of each other and really see who can do what. And for some reason or another, I think that Mookie still has the speed and the skill to run with those guys and or outrun them. And, he'd be one of those guys that if he never gets a 450 Supercross main event win, it'd be a travesty. I mean, with the talent and skill that he has, with the speed that he has, the guy just can't catch a break. So I'm really hoping things turn around. I mean, obviously the title's out of the question now, but to see him grab a win this year and just put the bike up front, so going into next season, he can have the confidence of knowing he can run with those guys. I'd really be stoked for him. On a not so positive note, and once again, I'm a huge fan of this guy, his vlog, the family, the whole 9 yards, is Christian Craig. I think we're at a point now where I think we're seeing the farewell tour of his factory 450 career. I don't think that there's a scenario where Christian Craig gets another 450 factory ride. Maybe you see him on a second tier team or a team that's non-factory, like a Firepower Honda or one of these other teams, but it just seems like the run at the 450 is not there. I don't think the confidence is there. I feel like we're seeing the last season that you're going to see Christian Craig on a factory bike. So that's unfortunate. I mean, but at his age with injuries, he was able to grab that 250 title, which no one can ever take away from him. And I just, it's a bummer to see that. I thought even last year, going into the season, he was, going to bring that momentum from the 250 championship and just really be able to run the pace. He's got incredible whoop speed, and you just haven't seen any of that, manifest itself, on the 450 with him. So, I mean, it's a bummer, but I think that's the truth. I think this will be the last time you'll see Craig on a 450 factory ride. Other than that, obviously, I think we're in a position this season setting up to be really, really good as far as racing, as far as competitiveness in the 450 class and the 250 class. And I'm really hoping that San Diego, we get something that's dry. You get a really cool track so that we can see what everybody can do on a perfectly good groomed, rideable Supercross track. Other than that, there's a couple other notables. I'd like to just shout out Hunter Yoder. I was on his program. He helped me out with the app at the beginning. Super cool kid, and it's just super stoked to see him running in the top 10 in points. On that 250. And all of you guys out there, obviously I don't get a lot of views on this yet, but I'm still going to continue to do it because I love to talk about the sport. If you guys have the ability to go and buy merch from these privateer riders, join their program, throw a logo on their fender. The privateers are the backbone of this sport. I mean, the dudes showing up in these Sprinter vans and doing it out of the back of a van, and just, they're always kind of shoved off into the corner, during the pits or during the, when you're walking around the pits. But if you guys get a chance to and you want to support somebody, go to some of these dudes' YouTube channels, subscribe to their pages, help them get views, do the $100 raffles on their pit bikes, anything you can do to help the privateer squad. And while I'm on that note, shout out to Austin Paulatelli. I jumped on his program this year. He transferred straight from the heat race to the main and pulled in a 19th. So shout out to him. I'm super stoked to be on his program and help him get to the track. But if you're a true fan of this sport, as we all know, and the factory guys suck up 99% of the money, both purse money and industry money. So, for us fans, I think we have an obligation to donate or help or buy the merch of these privateer riders, because I don't think the sport would be the same without them. I think there's a lot of really good characters, and I mean that in a good sense, that are in that privateer pool. You got the Josh Greco's, you got the Kevin Morans, you got all these different privateer guys that have just awesome personalities. They interact with the fans. They do all this cool stuff. And a lot of them are just on the struggle bus just to show up and ride. So if you're a true fan of the sport and you're going to go out and say, hey man, I'm going to go spend $100 on merch for some riders, check out some of these privateers, donate to their program. And not to downplay, hitting the Jet Lawrence, zone and doing the fan zone and buying some of his stuff. But the truth be told, those guys are making a ton of money, and as well as they should be. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think as fans, we need to spread that wealth a little bit and help some of these privateer dudes. So if you get a chance and you show up at a race, go cruise through the privateer kind of section, talk to those guys, grab a flyer. If you can, if they're a couple $100 and get on their program to help them get from race to race, I would urge, anybody that can do it to please do it. So on that note, not going to talk too much more about the racing. The mud race kind of is what it is. Moving forward with the app, we ask you guys, please invite a friend. You go to app.motobookie.com. It's absolutely free. No credit card required. And you get on there and let's have some fun. Let's create a little bit more excitement behind each race, create a little bit of banter in the post wall, talk a little bit of smack and send some bets. And if you guys, have any suggestions about what we can improve or things you would like to see on the app, please feel free to hit us up on our Instagram page. Please, follow us as well. We hope to have some inside people at each one of the races. We're kind of doing a collaboration with Buttery and some of his guys, and they're going to go to like 12 or 13 of the rounds. So I might be able to post some inside news on our post wall or give some people some sneak peek information, that might help them with their wagering. So, feel free to go on our post wall, leave comments, let us know what you like, what you don't like. Obviously, we ask you to please keep it PG. We're in there to have a good time, and we hope everybody can do the same. So once again, guys, thank you. The YouTube channel thing, I haven't put a bunch of cash into. We're just kind of having fun with it. But I'm going to be doing these every week. Don't care how many views I get. I just enjoy talking about the sport. I love the sport. I love the industry. And all I want to do is contribute what I can to put more eyes on the sport. So thank you guys once again. App.motobookie.com. Go check us out. Ask you guys to please go to shopbuttery.com. Dude, the guy's got some of the sickest and coolest merch in the game. He loves this sport. He loves his dirt bike. He's passionate about what he does. And I understand that there's a lot of options of merch and stuff to buy out there, but I can tell you this dude puts a lot of cash back into his program. He puts a lot of cash into doing his, new merch drops and doing creative merch drops and, traveling the country, getting content. So if you can jump on there, man, and spend a couple $100 just to support him, I'd really appreciate that. I know he would appreciate it. So once again, it's shopbuttery.com. You see a full line of all his merch. And let me tell you, he's a cool guy who's genuinely in love with his dirt bike and loves riding. And if he can help grow the sport, I think we should support him. So thanks again to everybody. I look forward to the San Diego round. Hopefully it's a dry one, so we have a little bit more bench racing to talk about. But until then, thank you guys once again, and we'll catch you on the next one.